Well, protective intelligence comes up quite frequently in conversations around executive protection. How do you define PI today, and how do you see its role changing?
Protective intelligence traditionally is focused on the executives, of course, but it's such a wide-ranging discipline where you're often a mile wide and an inch deep, and you touch so many parts of the business. You do a little bit of everything, when it comes to protective intelligence style security. So it's actually not surprising that it's beginning to take over space in a more significant way. I actually had done a LinkedIn deep dive, my own research across job postings on LinkedIn, and found no less than 100 PI-focused
Oh,
roles
wow.
posted across 80 different organizations. I've never seen that many roles posted. I come across a lot more organizations that are really giving primacy to their PI teams in more significant ways, and they're taking on larger remits that cross disciplines. Insider risk can be very PI-focused. The role is very similar. And I think that's partly a testament to the threat environment, but I also think that's a signal that how those teams are operating and the people they're hiring who are successful are really getting the job done in impactful ways.
Social media plays a really significant role in executive protection today. How do you see teams struggling with this huge volume and pressure that comes with monitoring it?
It's a significant issue. Trying to deal with the noise of social media is one of the single greatest challenges with any corporate intelligence team at this point, because, as you said, the volume is so high. I do think that oftentimes teams get caught up or distracted in social media because they're continually looking to find the needle in the haystack, find the singular threat. You do need to find, or at least look to, and try to find the needle in the haystack. So that is important. But by way of that, I think often teams wind up missing the bigger picture. Threats now manifest across spaces. Maybe the team at the NFL wasn't necessarily thinking about health grievances as potentially affecting them, but the same grievance pattern that affected UHG wound up potentially impacting the NFL offices, and by way of that, Blackstone offices in the same building in New York City. And so if you're not following the bigger picture, you potentially miss the things that are happening in the space of trends. This is a very military kind of term, but they call it a soda straw view. So if you're looking through a straw, you'll only see what's at the end of the straw. It's a very small view, but actually if you pull the straw away, there's a much bigger picture there to look at.
How has the way that you think about grievances and the motivation behind social media threats evolved over the past months or years with all these changes?
Now more than ever, everyone has some kind of grievance. How do you actually anticipate what those grievances are? I do think it probably comes down more, again, to that relationship building, understanding where your company's policies are shifting, how they're being viewed. And that really spans, not just like the Metas and the Googles of the world, but really it could be any company in this environment that issues a policy or says something or makes a decision that winds up being publicly controversial. You may not be that concerned by a public policy that was posted from the organization you're supporting, and nobody said anything publicly, you haven't found anything, but that potential, user who has a grievance may have sent a direct message or an email to your executive. And by having that relationship with those key stakeholders, they'll again, in turn, send that to you. You have access to that. And then that prompts a deeper review of their online activity. Maybe that reveals a problematic pattern that you didn't know about before. So really trying to get into the nitty-gritty of those user grievances and those patterns in that space is going to be really important for you to get from reactive to proactive in a more impactful way.